Hi everybody, it is April and I am in my craft room, and today we are going to do something a little different. We are going to make hexagon shaped placemats for our tables. Instead of finishing my 4th of July bench quilt like I should, I am instead moving on to a new project, also related to the 4th of July celebration and related to my 4th of July quilt. I have all of these fabrics out. I have strips left over from that project, and I thought, well, I should use these strips. So what you do is you take the fabric that you pick for your placemat, and then you're going to cut out that fabric using this 60-degree triangle. Now mine is from Creative Grids, but there are other companies that also sell these. And then use your ruler along that straight edge of fabric and cut up each side. And then with the Creative Grids ruler, you've got that straight cut across, the point is no longer there. That is very nice for matching up your triangles to sew them. It makes it really easy to do that. So once you get your fabric cut, then you are going to sew it together. So you have your two triangles, and you are going to lay them out on your table. You don't have your two triangles, I'm sorry, you have your 6 triangles. You're going to lay them out on your table, and you are going to sew half of your placemat, which is 3 triangles sewn together, and then you'll sew the other half of your placemat, again 3 of your triangles together, and then you will have half and half, and you'll use that to sew the whole thing. One of the reasons that I decided to even make these placemats was because I had these strips of fabric that were left over from my quilt that I did that was in the red, white, and blue. So I have ironed all of my strips of fabric, and then I sewed my strips of fabric. Then I took my strips of fabric to the sewing machine and I connected them together using a 1/4 inch seam on each strip. And let me show you what I got. I got this nice strip set. This will be the backing of my placemat. So I put a leftover piece of batting on the back of my strip set, and then I'm going to lay my placemat on top of my strip set face down, so right sides are touching. So I have a layer. I have batting, I have strips, and I have my placemat. My batting is not quite as wide as my strip set, but I didn't want to move my strips to one side of the batting or the other. I wanted a little sliver, or a little more than a sliver, of each of the strips on the edges. So I will place my placemat, and then I will put a pin in it just so that I don't lose my place. If I can find a pin. If I can find anything on this nightmare of a tabletop, which you are not going to see. All right, I know I've got pins somewhere. Is there a pin? pin in it. Okay, so I have placed one placemat, and I will show you this. I need more pins. So I actually put 2 pins, one at the top and one at the bottom. Oh, here is what it looks like. Only you can see pieces are falling, but it's not going anywhere because it's pinned. Let's take it to the sewing machine and I will show you what I do. So here is my placemat. I want to leave one edge, one of these little pies, mostly open. I will go around the corners and leave quite a large gap because I can. It's not going to make it any harder if I leave a gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this particular pie open. I'm going to turn this so that my foot lines up with this edge of this piece of my pie, we'll call it. And then I will drop my foot, drop my needle, and I will sew a 1/4 inch seam until I get about a 1/4 inch from where I need to pivot to go the other way. My machine is set, so I put a setting stitch in at the very beginning, so I don't have to worry about locking my stitch. It's going to do it for me. Don't forget, I need to leave this open so that I can turn it right side out. And I will do some back stitching to tack it into place. Once you're done sewing the seam around the outside edge of your project, then you're going to trim off the excess. And I will do this all the way around the placemat. So what I end up with when I do that is some extra fabric, is my placemat inside out. So I've left a hole somewhere right here so that I can turn it right side out. But first I want to trim these little corners. I don't want to trim them back to the seam. I just want as little fabric in the way of me pushing my corners out as possible. So I'll get some nice defined corners. Now I can turn my project right side out. Gotta take out my pins, and I like to just try and push out the corners and then put it right side out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It just depends on how much room I gave myself on the open area. If you need to get a tool to help you push your fabric out to get the best corner that you can get, a purple thing like this is always helpful. And it is starting to look like fun. Oh, this last corner, there we go. Okay. Now, I did not do any of my placemats exactly alike. This one, the front or the top or this side, since they're two-sided, looks a lot like another placemat that I did. But this, which is some Pioneer Woman fabric, which happens to have red, white, and blue, is not like any of the others that I did. I like to mix and match. I think it's fun. So now I will run an iron over these seams so that I can flatten them out. The next thing I need to do is I need to close the opening that allowed me to turn it right side out. So when I pull on this, it almost closes itself. Not quite, because I've got that batting in there that's kind of getting in the way. So I will fold it over. Fold it over. I need to make sure that I have at least a 1/4 inch of fabric folding in, because I'm going to top stitch all the way around my project. So I will put some clips on this to hold it in place, and I'll also go ahead and run an iron over it without the clips. That'll just help kind of lock it down. So I am ready to go back to the sewing machine. Like I said, I'm going to do a top stitch a 1/4 inch all the way around. I have some fun red, white, and blue variegated thread, which I love variegated thread, that I'm going to use to go all the way around. And then I need to do some stitching here somewhere just to lock everything in place, because when I wash it, I don't want the batting and the fabric to separate from one another, and then the batting bunch up in places where I don't want it bunching up and that kind of thing. What I can do is I could easily free motion quilt this, or I can straight stitch along the seam, and that will accomplish the same task. So here is my placemat, and there's the back. I stitched 3 lines. This one, let's see, this one, this one, this one, and this one, actually 4. So it should stay in place. Something else that you can do with your Hexagon placemats is use a zigzag stitch to join them together and create a table runner. So when you want to decorate your table for a certain occasion, look around your sewing room. All you need are scraps to make your triangles, and you can use strips for the backing. These whip up quickly, and they're very festive. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and eat some chocolate. Until next time, bye. As my, having an issue here. And then use your ruler. Use your ruler. So instead of moving the batting from to or I can just do some straight. I'm having trouble finding my words. I've got some fun red, white, and blue fabric.